me, I will overuse some gestures when I'm doing presentation if I think that is very important. So it is very hard to get rid of. But one way to do this, one way to cover such nervous reaction is you can use walking instead. Waving seems unstable, but walking seems just like a master. So you can use walking instead. And through walking on the stage, you won't be nervous, and you can feel a kind of a sense of safety. And as to gestures, usually we use them in having interactions with the audience, or we may showing the quantity, how big it is, or doing some counting things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or doing visual indications such as, hey, the dinner is there, look. No dinner. Basically, different people have different ways of using their gesture, but one thing for sure is, usually for sure is, pointing is not proper in the presentation. You and you and you and you and you need to blah 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 and blah blah blah. It is something that your president in your high school usually do, but not suitable for you. Because my point is not good. Because it will make audience feel offensive. You are offensive. You're pointing at him. You are offensive. So it will cause you are unable to receive the presenter's message anymore. Unless you are someone really important, you can use pointing 1 or twice, but never use it too much. The third key point is the eye contact. You may heard that actually you don't need to be afraid of going on the stage, just pretending audience the watermelon, 西瓜, or the stone, 石头, under the stage, and you just keep talking to the watermelon. Well, it may be a good way of countering your stage fright, but it is bad for your eye contact with the audience. And why eye contact is important? Because eye contact is a good way of doing nonverbal interaction with the audience. And it can make the audience feel your sincerity and your confidence. And also, for the presenter himself, it is also a good way to observe the feedback from the audience, especially from their expression. And in Part.2 Toastmasters, the audience down the stage are all supporting audience, which means they won't judge you, they only support you. So you can always get confidence through their eye contact. So next time when you go on the stage, remember, look at the audience, give them a smile, and you will scan your confidence on the stage. So these are basically all the things about the self-rehearsal. All in all, when you are doing self-rehearsal, what you're doing is giving the script its presenting power. But one thing you need to be aware of is those skills are just like the tool of your presentation. But what really matters are always the content inside your speech. And no matter how excellent your presentation skills is, if your content is bad, garbage in, garbage out, this is something that will never change in the world. So be aware of it. So after a few times of rehearsal by yourself, before going on the stage, you still have one chance to better your performance. That is so-called the mentor rehearsal. What is mentor? After you join Part.2 Toastmasters, every new member will have a chance to choose one senior member inside as his or her mentor. And you will become your mentor's mentee. And your mentor is going to help you get used to the environment inside Part.2 Toastmasters, and also help you revise your script before you go on the stage, just like your personal tutor and your friend. And I think that will be next Friday, about March 8th. It will be a mentor-mentee symposium. And at that moment, at that event, every mentor will go on the stage and introduce themselves at that day. And you can choose one of them as your mentor. And I think that your personal mentor is more experienced than you for sure. But they didn't necessarily mean he got better presentation skills than you. Well, then how can your mentor help you? Well, although it is impossible that every one of us are the masters of being the presenter, but we, especially your mentor, are all masters of being the audience. So when rehearsing in front of your mentor, they can help you get familiar with the pressure on the stage and help you build your self-confidence. In other words, you can view your mentor as your pre-supporting audience. And I think there are at least two key points when you are rehearsing with your mentor. First is observing your mentor's reaction, including the reaction to your joke. If I'm telling a joke, I'm telling about come up with a joke and I want to tell you, well, let me tell you forget about it. Telling about your joke or your emotional message. I think this is really important. If your mentor really thinks your word is very sincere, he will have this kind of message. And you know that your emotion will successfully convey to them. And second is practicing your eye contact. Because this is the very first time you share your speech with a person, a real person other than you. So it is a very good chance to train your eye contact. And actually, having eye contact with one person is much more stressful than having an eye contact with a lot of persons. Because as I'm staring at you, he is stressful and you are stressful too. So it is a very good training. And one thing you need to be aware of it is the suggestion for your mentor are all good references. But it is not good for you to make decisions only depends on his or her ideas. Because it is you knowing what you are talking about. And it is you yourself have to make final decisions. Mentor is just going to give you advices. But you need to adjust your script through their advices, but don't just listen to them. And also, I would like to remind that rehearsing with your mentor is not the last thing you do. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better performance you will have. So remember, and that's rehearsal before going on the stage. The fourth. As you gradually finish your preparation, you are getting one more step closer to the stage. But things usually goes wrong at this moment, such as not until you go on the stage did you find out that the projector won't work. The microphone has no sound, and the computer cannot be opened, or the slide content you prepare changed dramatically according to the progress of PowerPoint. And all of these are just small technical problems. But when they really happen, one after another, you will absolutely drive you crazy. However, actually these problems can be avoided. The only thing you need to do is to understand your stage. So in the following, I would like to show you some most important parts of stage understanding. First is the stage size. The stage size will influence your working space. And if you are inside a very small room, this is a little bigger room. If you are inside a very small room, it is good for you to stand here and just doing your presentation or sharing. But if you are in a very big stage, then you can better working here and there, covering all the eyesight of the audience and also working to show your confidence. And also, when the stadium is in front of you, you can consider how to interact with it. If the stadium is higher than the audience, then you will seem to be superior to your audience. At that moment, you can challenge your audience. But if your stadium is the same height as your audience, just like now, then the challenging would be difficult. But you can share your idea because you are at the same height as your audience. There will be a good situation of sharing. And the ratio between the and you also matter. If it is much bigger than you, such as the screen on the first student activity, 国大礼堂, and then the screen is much bigger than you, then you can, what you are doing for your presentation is just like walking here and there, just like Steve Jobs. However, if it is about this size, then you can pretend as if it's a blackboard here. But if you keep walking here and there, and you keep walking covering the slide content from your audience, the audience will feel very annoying. And at this moment, besides stage time, another thing is the projector and the computer. I think all of you have experienced that a technical problem will always drive you crazy. And I believe that we all have shared some experiences in our classes and our meetings. And how to solve this problem? For software problem, my first suggestion would be backup, backup, and backup. Always have the backup in many kinds of forms. Especially you are going to attending some of the very important events. For example, for today's SGD, I got a PDF form for backup. I got a PowerPoint form for backup. This is the Keynote form. And I also have saved my document in the Dropbox, my email, and my US flash drive, and also my laptop. And sometimes I will prepare for my VGA line, although it's got a VGA line here, but sometimes the VGA just don't work. So I prepare my personal own VGA line. And you may think that what I was doing was too over. Well, this is not true. Last month, I was invited to MTTU Toastmaster to attend the campus union. And it is a very big gathering, about 70 to 100 people of all the Toastmaster class among all the universities gathered to that event. And when I get there, I was surprised to find out that they didn't prepare the VGA line, which means this line, the one connecting your laptop to your projector. They didn't prepare the VGA line and the pointer. So they came to me and borrowed the VGA and pointer for the whole day. And if I didn't bring my pointer and my VGA line, then all the activities won't have any video at that day. It is ridiculous, but sometimes it just happens. So prepare your own equipment. And the pointer is also a good tool when you are doing your presentation. And it can prevent you from being trapped around your computer. So if you are going to do such a stage show, then it can free you from your laptop and going here and there. And also it can control flash and not flash. So it gives you a very free space to control. And as to the projector, this project is good. But sometimes the project light beam is poor. We can almost see nothing. And at this moment, we need to turn off the light to do the slide presentation. But people always fall asleep inside a dark environment, especially when they are attending the meeting. So if your projector is poor beforehand, you can use white background or light background and turn the light on. That would be a better strategy. And although all these actions can reduce the risk of the accident, but it is still better for you to consider the way of presentation without visual aid. And when the accidents come, they're annoying. But if you can deal with them comfortably, then that would be a very, very wonderful experiences of crisis management, basically. So that would be all about the projector and the computer. Last is the microphone. I think after 2 demo meetings, you've seen a lot of kind of problems about microphones, including its own work. And usually when we will take the microphone, a hand-formed microphone, and some details I think you need to notice. First, don't take microphone too far away or too close to your mouth. Otherwise, you will have sound or no sound at all. And second thing is that try to keep your microphone vertical or almost vertical to your mouth. Because If you do this, the microphone, although it is very clear to close to your microphone, it has almost no sound. So try to keep your microphone vertical to your mouth. And the third is avoiding holding microphone at the lower part of the microphone, because this part is the part that microphone receives its signal. So if you hold this part, then the signal won't convey to there, and the whole stadium won't have any sound. So there will be something about microphone. So after all the preparation, are you ready to get into the final stage? I think so too. So let's get into the last part in front of your audience. Again, Chinese old saying goes, 台上1分钟，台下10年功. So with so much preparation, we absolutely hope we can make sure the performance on the stage. So following, I will share some of my ideas of making your performance better in front of the audiences. To have good performances, two key points must bear in your mind. One is leading your audience's attention. The other is keeping your audience curious about what you're talking about. And how to do this? I think that there are following, I will divide it and speak into 3 parts: the opening, body, and conclusion part, and introduce how to lead the attention and keep audience curiosity about one by one. The first one is the opening. The way of opening a speech depends on what kind of audience you got. If your audience is superior than you, just like the teacher, the professor, or the one who is interviewing you, I would suggest that you can use weak opening. Just like, hello everyone, I'm Bill. Today I'm going to introduce myself about blah blah blah. It is safer, and when you are not familiar with the audience, and once after you show your opening, you can start it to make more performances. Such a whoa, and that would be start from the weak opening and get gradually getting stronger. That would make the instructors getting more used to you. On the contrary, if you are presenting in front of your friends, the audience you are familiar with, or the students or kids, just like kids inside the kindergarten, and I would suggest that you can use a strong opening, just like, hello everyone, I'm Bill. Today I'm going to introduce SGD. And once you do so, you will become the focus point of the audience. Then you can you can get your audience attention in a very short time. That will be a benefit of strong opening. So weak opening or strong opening depends on who is your audience. Second is the party part. When you are doing the presentation, if it is you alone, just saying, just like me, I already said for about 40 minutes, then at this moment, your audience may feel a little bit boring about your speech. And at this moment, you can modify some parts of your presentation into a story, or just like a drama. Then that can absolutely get your audience attention back. For example, last year when I saw my president and my vice president are doing blah blah blah, and they are keeping blah blah blah, and eventually they become blah blah blah. And once I started my story, the audience attention you must have a main idea, core value, a conclusion that you want to talk to your audience. So in the end of your speech, it is good for you to conclude your speech and making the audience remember one sentence after they leave. For example, in the graduation ceremony of Stanford University, Steve Jobs gave one of the most inspiring speeches in the world. And in the end of the speech, he shared a sentence: stay hungry, stay foolish. It is easy to remember and provide a way or a clue for us to remember his speech next time. Once you heard stay hungry, stay foolish again, then you will remember the 3 stories he had ever shared and about his cancer, his exile, and his early life. So make one sentence being remembered by the audience. And with the same idea, that's the reason why NGO Toastmaster officer announcement or in our speeches, you can always see this sentence. And right now, it's also about the end of my introduction, so I would like to share the sentence with the same words with you all. To start, you don't have to be good, but to be good, you have to start. Wishing you all can step out of your comfort zone inside NGO Toastmaster. Thank you all very much. Thank you.